Let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been on something of a liberal media tour, much to the chagrin of some of the enemies she'd already made by the time she went on the liberal media tour, going on Bill Maher and The View and CNN. People who were really upset at her for not being a quote, team player on the government shutdown, for telling Republicans, as we talk about here all of the time, that the healthcare policy of the Republican Party, or the lack of healthcare policy of the Republican Party is probably a better way to put it, is not good enough. Many people are about to see a big premium spike because the Biden subsidies are expiring, and nobody on the right thinks those Biden subsidies are good. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not arguing the Biden subsidies are good. The alternative, though, is horrible for people who are going to see 17% spikes in their exchange plans, maybe more for some people. And Republicans are just asking those voters to cross their fingers and hope one day the GOP is able to have so much control of the House and the Senate and the presidency that they pass consensus healthcare legislation, which they didn't do after saying that they would do it. That doesn't just repeal Obamacare, but replaces Obamacare and is better. That is clearly, everyone knows, not in the near-term future. So you're asking people to swallow these massive price hikes, which I agree are going to, in the long run, make healthcare less affordable. But either way, you either need people to pay a bunch of money now and hope for a good healthcare solution, or you can make people's lives a little bit more manageable in a deeply unjust system that everybody agrees is deeply unjust. And then also do a healthcare solution. Either way, you need a healthcare solution. So it's a matter of whether people are being asked to swallow these crazy costs, which change the way that they live their lives, of course, or, just finding a way to fix the system and giving them a break on the way. And that's the argument that Marjorie Taylor Greene is making. It's definitely the argument that I've been making. And people were already upset with her about that. They were already upset with her, certainly about Israel. She's never been the most popular member of the Republican conference, though, of course, she is one of the top small dollar fundraisers. She may be the top small dollar Republican fundraiser in all of Congress. Very popular with a base, someone who was motivated by healthcare, as she told the great Megyn Kelly, to end up going into politics, motivated by MAGA. She was one of those people standing at rallies. She's sort of the median MAGA voter who made their way into Congress. Now, yes, her family is well off. They have a small business that does very well. So she's not necessarily a working class MAGA voter. But she's somebody who's like really obviously very dedicated to the cause and has a fairly normal background. So let's roll Marjorie Taylor Greene stepping into yet another space in liberal media, CNN, Bill Maher, and now here she is on The View, making her case to a skeptical Sunny Hostin, who's like, whoa, QAnon. QAnon. She's like glitching, like, QAnon. Here it is.
Say you don't believe in the QAnon conspiracies anymore?
Oh, I went over that a long time ago. I mean,
you've changed.
Well, no, I haven't changed. I was a victim, just like you were,
2021, she did that.
of media lies and stuff you read on social media. You all have attacked me many times on this show.
We have.
Because of things that you read about me. That weren't true.
Or clips we've seen.
Or clips you've seen
that took me out of context. What was that about?
No, but
wait, hold
not
up.
even true.
Let's take a
not
second.
real.
Yeah,
Glenn Greenwald
getting
Oh, Whoopi's saying I'm getting the rap sign. Oh my gosh, was that uncomfortable? This is why it's best not to spend too much time with women all at the same venue. It gets a little catty. I guess that's the history of The View. They were relatively friendly to Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, now because she's, sort of out of favor with Trump and the White House over the shutdown issue, and that explains the friendly reception she's gotten since departing from the party line on healthcare. But Marjorie Taylor Greene back in 2021, it blows my mind. I shouldn't be surprised, but it blows my mind that people don't pay attention to this or don't talk about this enough. She made what I think is one of the most interesting, compelling floor speeches on the House floor in recent memory. Back in 2021. And it was explaining exactly how she got sucked into the world of QAnon conspiracy theories. And it was so interesting. She talked about how, like many Americans, she does not trust institutions, and thus her mind was fertile ground for people to plant the seeds of completely incorrect information that are often conspiratorial. I'll just read a little bit from it. She says, when we elected President Trump, and then I started seeing things in the news that didn't make sense to me, like Russia collusion, which are conspiracy theories and also have been proven so, these things bothered me deeply. And I realized just watching CNN or Fox News, I may not find the truth. So she says, I started looking up things on the internet, asking questions like most people do every day. Using Google, I stumbled across something, and this was at the end of 2017, called QAnon. Well, these posts were mainly about this Russia collusion information. A lot of it was some of what I would see on the news at night, and I got very interested in it, so I posted about it on Facebook. I read about it. And she goes on to say, I didn't trust the government really because people here weren't doing the things that I thought that they should be doing for us, the things that I just told you I cared about. And I want you to know a lot of Americans don't trust our government, and that is sad. And she just goes on to say, when I started finding misinformation, lies, things that were not true in these QAnon posts, I stopped believing it. And I want to tell you, any source, and I say this to everyone, any source of information that is a mix of truth and a mix of lies is dangerous, no matter what it is saying, what party it is helping, anything or any country it's about, it's dangerous. At the end of the speech, she said, we allow the media that is just as guilty as QAnon, will we allow the media that is just as guilty as QAnon of presenting truth and lies to divide us? And hearing her confront Sunny Hostin about also being duped by conspiracy theories and with such a quick and clear, concise retort. Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking and picking up on, because of her arc coming from actual grassroots MAGA itself, she is much more in touch with the kind of average normie Republican voter than people here in Washington, D.C., who have adopted MAGA and wear it like a suit, of course, but privately talk all kinds of trash about MAGA and Trump. That's absolutely a thing. And wouldn't be caught dead at like an Applebee's. Like, seriously, wouldn't be caught dead at an Applebee's or wearing, they're going out hunting or wearing their camo, unless it was, in vogue, unless it's, of course, Carhartt, then of course they'll be caught wearing it. But those types of folks, they have no idea what the experience, the news consumption experience for the average American is like. And Marjorie Taylor Greene addressed that years ago, actually very eloquently. And guess what? It never penetrated the narrative. It never penetrated the narrative. I get that Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't everybody's cup of tea, and I get people may disagree with her on Ukraine and Israel. I disagree with her certainly on things. But if you don't understand what she understands about where the average voter is coming from, you're the problem. She's not the problem. And I thought that appearance on The View and that particular exchange really should serve as a lesson to people here in DC who think Marjorie Taylor Greene has gone off the reservation, which of course you're probably not allowed to say anymore, but has gone off the reservation and is no longer a team player. She's actually a canary in a coal mine. Like, that's what she is. I get that people are suspicious when someone goes into a liberal media space. I'm suspicious of that myself. But she has defended MAGA every single time she's gone into that lion's den. When people are laughing at her for what she thinks as a Christian about aliens on Real Time with Bill Maher, she gets laughed at. And she doesn't blink. And that's because she comes from the actual grassroots in the actual MAGA world. And so if you want to criticize her for being opportunistic and cynical, whatever, I would just ask that you watch more than the clips, because she's actually being a pretty aggressive and protective, I would say, steward of the MAGA brand. And she is correct. There are some reports she's thinking about running for president. I don't know that that's a good idea, but we'll see. Some people run for president as messaging campaigns, right, to shift the Overton window and to force the field to grapple with some important questions. That's largely why Bernie Sanders ran in 2016. He didn't think he was going to be president. He didn't think he was going to get as close as he did to Hillary Clinton twice. He was sort of this curiosity in Washington, D.C., a kind of crunchy Vermont guy who was a little bit curmudgeonly. And then he became like the left's grandfather and surprised everyone. because he was speaking to something that people really cared about. Again, you don't have to become a statist or a protectionist or like fully. You don't have to like give your maybe you don't agree with the ideological direction of populism. Fine. But most of the people who don't agree with the ideological direction of populism, it manifests in a way that reveals they just are out of touch or have contempt for kind of the average voter, the average person, even they don't know it. That's the way it manifests, and that's really what gets me right now, is that people taking shots at the populists, which is, again, like, it's fine to disagree with them. I disagree with them on many things, fine, but they're the ones that have the worst, that continue to have the worst understanding of the lives of actual Americans and the attitudes of actual Americans and the needs and wants of actual Americans. Things feel heavy right now. That's what I was just thinking. Truly what I was just thinking. Politics is divisive, the news can be depressing, and it often feels like we as a society have more pulling us apart than bringing us together. But here's something simple that truly unites us all: shopping small. When you choose to buy from a small business, you're not just getting a product, you're helping someone's dream grow, and you're investing in values that we all share: honesty, craftsmanship, and community. That is what a warehouse is all about. The good people at a warehouse have teamed up with nearly 100 small business makers across the US to bring you handmade goods filled with heart and creativity, uniting people of all backgrounds in the singular mission. So let's choose connection over division and show small businesses the support they so richly deserve. This is a very cool website, everyone. It is awarehouseshop.com. So visit awarehouseshop.com and use code PARTY for 15% off your first order. That's awarehouseshop.com, code PARTY.